Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews. Coming to you guys another tier list video. This one I'm going to be ranking the seasons of the Walking Dead universe. Alright, so with Daryl Dixon Season 2 coming out this weekend, I thought it'd be a good time to look back on the Walking Dead original series along with some of these other spin-offs, including Daryl Dixon Season 1. Fair warning, I am not going to be including Fear the Walking Dead or World Beyond. I think I've only seen like Season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead like way back when, around the time it was probably airing, a little bit after, and then just never really got into it. I know a lot of the stuff going on. I've been a Walking Dead fan, been watching it live since Season 5, so it's been a big part of my life, and I've covered a lot of Walking Dead stuff on the channel here as well, and so I always kind of paid attention to Fear, as the years went on, but I never actually really got into it. And then World Beyond just didn't really seem like it was for me, and then I heard everybody's opinions on it and their reviews. They weren't very good, so I just kind of avoided it. But otherwise, everything else, sort of Tales the Walking Dead, Dead City Season 1, Daryl Dixon Season 1, The Ones Who Live, and then, of course, the 11 seasons of the main show, The Walking Dead. So that's what I'll be covering and ranking here in this tier list. So yeah, really looking forward to this one, and I have done a seasons ranking of the original series. This was at the time when Season 9, the finale, like just aired, and so I did this the next day, and so yeah, kind of cool to look back on that, and I think some of my opinions have changed on some of the seasons, so the seasons will be different, and then of course we have these other new additions now to the ranking as well, and that was just a ranking video and not a tier list video, so thought this could be fun. But anyways, love to hear your guys' thoughts, of course, on the Walking Dead original series, how these spin-offs have been for you, where you would rank all these seasons of these shows, and if you've seen Fear and World Beyond, how would they rank for you compared to all these other seasons? So love to hear your guys' thoughts, and then of course any thoughts and kind of predictions, if you will, or anything like that for Daryl Dixon Season 2, which I'm looking forward to, and I'll definitely be covering that on the channel once the season wraps up. I think I'll probably have a season review for Season 2, but yeah, looks really good so far. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel as well. Would really appreciate that. But without any further ado then, let's get into the tier list. Alright, so here we are on the tier list, and I did go ahead and make this one. I'm not sure if there probably is other ones, out there already made for the seasons, but maybe they would have included Fear and World Beyond, right? And so I just went ahead and made this one. So I'll put the link in the description if you're interested in, ranking these specific seasons. And of course, you can go ahead and add World Beyond and Fear, seasons if you wanted to this tier list too. So anyways, leave that in the description if you're all interested in that. But like I said off the top, it's the original series here, Tales, Daryl, Dead City, and The Ones Who Live. So we have 15 total seasons of television then that we're going ahead and ranking in the tier list here. So then quickly, just for the tiers, I left the S tier just with S. I think that's, I like having that. I feel like it's kind of part of the whole tier list thing, so we'll leave that there. And then in terms of the others, we have great, good, meh, and awful. I'm not sure that too many things will be an awful. I don't know. I don't think any of the original series run is, any of the scenes are awful, but we'll have to see. Maybe I end up putting a couple there, or maybe one or two, so we'll see there. But yeah, like I said, 15 seasons here, and so I did order them, so we're going to do all the original series first, and then we'll end off with all the kind of spin-offs towards the end. So I believe this is actually literally in chronological order of the year and date that all of these came out. So that's that, and then of course Season 2 of Daryl Dixon's not here yet because we haven't seen the full season. It's just coming out this weekend, so maybe in the future I'll add that to this list, along with maybe Dead City Season 2 as well when that comes out next year, hopefully in February or something like that. But anyways, okay, so let's get started then with the first one, and that is Season 1 of The Walking Dead, the original series. So I talked about, how I did a seasons ranking video, years ago after Season 9, and Season 1 was pretty low for me at that point, and the main reason for that, and I do like Season 1, I like a lot of, what they set up in it. Of course, the pilot is an amazing episode. I'll probably be covering that on the channel and just a little bit as well, because I absolutely love that pilot. I think it's one of the best probably ever made. in TV. And then, you get the rest of that first season, with Shane and, Rick finding Carl and Lori again. But the main reason I put it, so low in that original ranking was because it's 6 episodes. And I just really struggle to rank a 6-episode season, which now we actually have these spin-offs that are 6 episodes. But in terms of the original show, 6-episode seasons with 13 or 16 or, even in the case of the late, like 22, 24. So it's really hard. Like, yes, I do enjoy season 1 a lot. There are a couple things like, the walkers behave quite a bit differently than the rest of the show, and so it kind of sets up some unrealistic things that don't happen later in the show, because I think that's kind of Frank Darabont was coming with a different approach to it compared to the Kirkman comics, right? And so that kind of we see that kind of just switched up, I guess, in season 2, and that's kind of taken down. So it's maybe a negative of it, but yeah, it's just not long enough to me to really get into it. But yeah, some really great episodes in season 1. So I don't know. I think maybe I have to put it in good. Again, it's a great start to the show. It really establishes everything well, like I said, with the pilot. But I don't know. It's only 6 episodes. It's just not long enough for me to really get into things. And I do think the characters are a little bit better in season 2. The cast we get, and a little more development, especially for someone like Daryl, Glenn, and then we get Maggie and Herschel and Beth and everything in season 2. So I do like that a little better. So I'm thinking probably just good for season 1. Here, I think that's a fair thing. Again, maybe that's low, but for me, that's where I would put it there. Okay, season 2, this might be the first hot take. I don't know. I see some people that also kind of agree with this as well. But I think I'm going to put season 2 in S tier. I really am. I think it's either my second or third favorite season of the original show. I love the Shane and Rick dynamic. Shane is one of my favorite characters of the show, and he's only there 2 seasons. But that dynamic is so good, and how it all comes, later, obviously that the first half of season 2, I would say is not as strong, but you have some really great episodes in there, and then, culminating kind of in Pretty Much Dead Already, right, when Sophia comes out of the barn. And that's kind of the big twist, because we've been spending how long looking for her, and she was right there the whole time. And so we get that, and though in the first half we kind of established the whole Shane and Rick dynamic and how Shane is really becoming ruthless, right? And he's trying to help them and trying to help Rick and saying, like, this is the world now. We can't live like we did before. And, obviously that's demonstrated by the way he reacts to Sophia walking out of the barn. And then the second half is just full on, we get a lot of the tension. I can't remember if Nebraska, that is an amazing episode as well, where we really see the turning point of Rick. I think that's in the second half too. But that scene where he kills his first, person, really, like that's not a walker, and that's a huge scene and a big turning point, and you can see Shane's effect on Rick, right, in that scene and in that that kind of sequence of how he changes. And so he starts getting kind of ruthless, and then, obviously we get the, this isn't a democracy anymore with season 3 premiere, or the finale of season 2, I can't remember, but anyway, so then we get the whole, second half. We get 18 Miles Out, which I think is such an underrated episode, probably a top 10 episode for me of the series. Absolutely amazing. And then you get, obviously Judge, Jury, Executioner with Dale's death, Better Angels, easily a top 10, and then Beside the Dying Fire, one of the best season finales of the show, in my opinion. So that second half of season 2 is among the best runs of the series, in my opinion. And yeah, you hate to see Shane go at the end of it, of course, but a really great dynamic still. And of course, I think a lot of people will say, like, yeah, it's kind of boring. It's a boring season of the show. I don't know. I really liked the kind of isolated setting of the farm. I know what didn't make for the most, entertainment or action kind of as we get later seasons, but I don't know. It really worked for me, and I really did enjoy it still. So I'm going to put that in S, and then we'll have probably a couple other ones in there too. Okay, so season 3 of the original series. This is a tough one. Again, back when I look at that season's ranking video I did years ago, I had this one very high, and I'm not sure that I would put it that high. This is one that I probably would have changed my opinion on a little bit. But it is a really great season still. Obviously, Andrea dying at the end of it, a big kind of difference from the comics. Because she's a huge character in the comics the whole way through. Michonne kind of takes her role later in the show. And yeah, so that one, that's maybe a negative of the season. I do think parts of it were a little slow as well, in the middle of it there. But great to see Merle back. And then, of course, the governor, right? And then you get Woodbury, you get the concept of, other communities that are out there. People have actually established and built communities in this world, and we hadn't really seen that yet. And so that was a big kind of opening of the show and kind of a preview of what was to come. And it does kind of fizzle out a little bit at the end of season 3, right? What is the episode? Welcome to the Tombs or something like that with the governor. They go to the prison, but of course they're all, hiding and they're not there. And so, at least from my memory, right? And so there's not too big of a battle, and then it kind of gets, it kind of they kind of delay it till season 4 with Too Far Gone. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna put this in good. I think I would take it over season 1. Again, it's 16 episodes versus 6 episodes, and the governor stuff was just really, really great for a lot of that. David Morrissey, awesome. Probably the second best villain, I would say. Obviously Negan would be my favorite, but he's close second. So I'm gonna put it in good. I think I'd put it over season 1 there. In that tier for sure. Okay, so season 4 then is next, and this is a tough one because they have a lot of good moments in season 4. Obviously, the back half has, Still, The Grove, the finale is an amazing episode, and then obviously the first half culminates in Too Far Gone, which is, if not my favorite, definitely top 3, favorite episodes of the show. Just an absolutely amazing episode, and Herschel's death, and, just so much great stuff in that episode. But the other parts of the season, I don't know, that first half, we start with 30 Days Without an Accident, and then I think it's the Infected storyline at the beginning there. It's kind of slow. It really is kind of slow until you get to Live Bait, episode 6, when the governor gets reintroduced. And then, his plot kind of builds to him, coming to the prison and Too Far Gone and kind of making his return. But those first 5 or so episodes are kind of slow to me. And then the second half after Too Far Gone, Still in the Grove are kind of, iconic episodes. Still for maybe the wrong reasons, but I feel like it's aged better. And yeah, so it's just kind of slow a little bit in that second half, even though you have some of those iconic episodes. So I do like, of course, all the characters being branched off. I did like that kind of concept because that was kind of the first time we saw that, so far in the show up to this point. Of course, that really, we see more of that later, but that was kind of the first time. And of course, them all culminating at Terminus is really satisfying. A really great finale. But yeah, I think the in-between times, I think people kind of forget that a little bit when looking back on this. So I'm going to probably put this, would I still put it in great though, over season 3? They do have some really, really great moments in it. So yeah, okay, maybe I'll put it in great then. We might put something over it in that tier, but I think we'll leave it in great. But yeah, it's just not really... It's not close to S tier for me, but I would probably put it over season 3, I think, still. Okay. So then season 5 of the original series, I think I'm going to put this in S tier, I think, probably. It's a really, really great season. So obviously we start off with No Sanctuary, and then right after we get Four Walls and a Roof, which is an amazing episode, when they take out Gareth, and Rick, I already made you a promise, and just brutally kills him in the church. An amazing scene, and just that whole episode, just the way it all plays out is just brilliantly done. And then we get, some of the Beth Hospital stuff, in that whole first half of season 5 there, which I didn't hate it. I think the first time I watched the show, I was really annoyed by it, and then I think I rewatched the show once all the way through, but I've, made it through other points of the show since. But the second time, especially that rewatch that I did, I actually didn't mind this storyline with Beth in the hospital. Like, it wasn't that bad to me, actually. Or definitely was not as bad as the first time I watched it. So, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't hate it. And Coda, what an emotional, maybe one of the most emotional deaths ever for Beth. But I do get the argument as well that, yeah, like, it was a little lackluster after all that build-up. I get that, but I thought it was okay, in the first bit there. And then I'm really kind of forgetting, I guess they helped Gabriel with the church and all that stuff in the rest of that first half. And then the second half is really great. Obviously what happened and what's going on with Tyrese coming back from the mid-season finale. An amazing episode, right? Probably top 15 episode. Just really, really great stuff. And then what I really enjoyed about season 5, where we get, probably episode 10, I want to say, to about 12 or something, or 13, till they find Aaron, right, and get into Alexandria. That little sequence of episodes where they're literally just on the road, they have no, home or anything, and it's just the group of them. There's probably like 13 or 12 of them, and they're just surviving. And I really, really like that because we don't see enough of that, I don't think, in the rest of the show. I guess maybe you could say it was similar to, the season 4 back half, but all these characters are together, actually. They're not separated. So I really love that dynamic. And then, we get the iconic scene when they're in the barn, right? We Are the Walking Dead. Really great stuff where that kind of all culminates. They're at their lowest point, and then Aaron comes in and, offers them, salvation almost to come to Alexandria. And then I like the ending there with Alexandria, too. Of course, Morgan comes back, which is awesome. And that finale episode is great, too. But as I'm talking more about this, I do think I don't think I'm gonna put it in S tier. Just the more I think about it, and now the first half is maybe kind of a little slower. So would I put it over season 4 with that stuff? This is tough. this is tough. No Sanctuary kicking it off. Yeah, I think I do. I think I like season 5 slightly better. I do like, the cast of characters too, with Abraham, being a big focal point. I really love Abraham. So, yeah, I think we'll put that there for now. Maybe later we'll move it, but for now, that's fine there. Okay, so season 6, this one I know for sure is going to be S tier, and that is going to be above season 2. I think my favorite, I'm not sure why, there we go. Oh, there we go. I can't. Okay, there we go. I think this is my favorite season of the original show. Just an amazing season. And I think the biggest part of this is, the show is obviously a post-apocalyptic show about zombies or walkers, right? And this season, to me, is like the ultimate zombie or walker season, right, of the show. Like, the whole first half of this season is all about this massive zombie horde, coming to Alexandria and what they're going to do and fighting it, right? And then within that, so that you get the premiere episode of season 6, which is really great, setting up that whole thing. And the way they do that is really great when they skip around on the timelines and you're not really quite sure what's going on, with the horde coming and, where we are, like what's going on. And so I really like that. And then you get JSS, with the Wolves storyline. They play that out really quite quickly, but it's a really great episode and a really great character development for Carol and Morgan and some others. So a really, just a hell of a start to a season, I think, for season 6. Really great. And then I will admit, it kind of does get a little slower then, after that. But again, it's still focusing so much on the zombie horde and all of that. And I just really, really enjoy that. Then you get an episode like Thank You. What else? Here's Not Here, the Morgan, bottle episode, if you will, or flashback episode, which I think is so well done. So you get that episode in there. And then, yeah, it's really just about the zombie horde. It does slow down a little bit. And then you get the kind of dynamic with Ron and Carl and some of that. And then, of course, it all builds up and really festers and then culminates in the season 6 finale, which is, just horrifying, the end of that episode. And then, of course, to me, the best episode of the series, No Way Out, is the season 6 mid-season premiere, which is just an absolutely amazing episode from beginning to end. And I feel like some people forget, like, saviors are seen for the first time. I think it's the first time in that episode of No Way Out when Abraham, Daryl, and Sasha, I think, run into them on the road, and they're on the motorcycles. That is just such an iconic scene, right, to introduce them. And at the time, we thought, oh, like, it's just these stupid guys, on bikes. They're saying, I'm Negan. Like, what is this about? And then, of course, looking back and in hindsight, it's like, wow, that was crazy that they actually met them in that episode. And even that kind of establishes things and gets it set up then for, Not Tomorrow Yet, and the whole kind of back storyline there for season 6. So an amazing episode, No Way Out. They defeat the zombie horde. Rick going out with his axe after Carl gets shot. Oh, so iconic, and just an amazing sequence there. So really great. And then, of course, is it episode 10 then, or episode 11, where we get Jesus coming in, and it's a whole new world, or whatever that thing is, the slogan. A big new world or something like that. And so, then we get, them introduced to the hilltop, and then we get Not Tomorrow Yet, an amazing episode again, really great. And then we get The Same Boat, really like that episode, with, who is it, Maggie, right? Maggie gets kind of trapped in there with the saviors. And then we just kind of ride the saviors thing out until, of course, the finale, Last Day on Earth, and, we get that cliffhanger at the end. And I do genuinely think if they didn't do the cliffhanger in the season 6 finale, that episode, Last Day on Earth, may be, easily top 5 episode, but we're talking like maybe the best episode of the series if they had done, Abraham, even just maybe Abraham's death in the season 6 finale, and then maybe save Glenn for the premiere. But if they would have done at least one of them in that finale, I think that would have been absolutely insane. But yeah, that's one of my favorite sequences of the show, pissing our pants yet. We get the whole Negan introduction. Like, perfect. So, yeah, I really do like season 6. Yes, maybe this has something to do as well with, when I really started watching the show and getting really invested in it was about, maybe end of season 5 and then, season 6. So I think obviously there is a little bit of that comes into my, ranking of this, but I really, really love season 6 of the show. Okay, so then we get to season 7, which I think is the worst season of the show. I think it's still probably worse than some of these later ones. I wouldn't rank them that high, but yeah, I think it's probably worse. Would I put it in awful? That's tough. I think I might. I think I actually might put season 7 in awful. One of these is definitely going below it. That's for sure. Yeah, okay. I think I'll put it in awful for now. I really don't think it's an awful season, though. I think we still get some good moments. Of course, that premiere, The Day Will Come When You Won't Be, the season 7 premiere, like I said, with Abraham and Glenn dying, just an absolutely amazing episode, and the way they did it with kind of the flashbacks and flash forwards of Rick. You thought you were all going to grow old together. So many great, lines and just really iconic moments. So a really great beginning, and then you get an episode like The Cell, which is, one of the hardest episodes of the show to watch. Just so devastating. And then that tone just continues for like the whole first half, a bit of the second half too. Like just the whole season is kind of depressing. And I get it, like it really does, it's part of it, right? It's part of that build up to All Out War, to Rick making the decision to fight back against Negan even after what he's done and how he's traumatized Rick and the group with his actions. But it's just took way too long, right? Like they stretched the All Out War storyline on way too long. And I think this season in particular should have been 8 episodes. Like the whole 16 episode arc here should have been 8 episodes. And then maybe All Out War is then in 8 episodes, like season 8. Or maybe you leave it 16 and then maybe the second half of season 8 is, the end of Rick's stuff. I don't know. Whatever they would have done, but it just was way too long, and that's where you caught it in this season is it was just way too long, and so there was so much filler in this season. So that's kind of where an episode like Swear comes to mind, right? Like that's just such a great example of they had to put a bottle episode, lots of bottle episodes in there as filler for this, and that's kind of, how it goes, with season 7. And to me, it's just a disappointing season. And then you get the finale, of course, which is satisfying. But even then, it's kind of lackluster. Like Negan, goes out, he's like flipping off everybody in the truck. A really great moment there. But that's how it ends, right? Like the Negan and the Saviors get away and not, they lose probably a few men, right? But they're basically just ran off from Alexandria. And, maybe, and then he says, we're going to war at the end, but we don't actually see any of the war really. Like that's barely a battle at all in the finale. So yeah, just kind of disappointing overall with season 7 there. But yeah, I don't know. I think awful's a little harsh, but we'll put it there for now. Okay, season 8 then. I do think it's better than season 7. The start of it was just really firing on all cylinders. An episode like The Damned, and what else? What was the season 8 premiere? Was it Mercy, right? Or Wrath? One of the two, right? One of them's Mercy, one of them's Wrath, the finale. I think it's Mercy, but a great start to season 8. We get a lot of the action-packed, the battles and those kind of sequences there. And so, it does feel satisfying in a way because we were so let down and so starved of that in season 7. So, yeah, it feels cool to see that, at the beginning of season 8. And kind of get that. But then again, it kind of gets bogged down. And then we get, of course, the decision to kill Carl off in this season, which easily the worst decision that the show ever made. Just an absolutely terrible, nonsense decision. And even, there was this decision, and I'll get to it with season 9, but what a god-awful decision to then set up Henry as taking some of Carl's plot and then also kill him off in season 9. Just a brain-dead decision-making process here to kill Carl and then literally kill his replacement off. So you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even continue his plot from the comics at all going forward, with Lydia and the Whisperers. So just absolutely asinine. But anyways, yeah, terrible decision to kill Carl off. However, that episode, Honor, his last episode is so good. So good. Easily a top 10 episode of the show. The way that they executed it was so good. Just a perfect execution for a terrible decision, but they did the best with what they could, right? And then, of course, the ending of season 8. Although I do really like the Simon and Negan dynamic, the kind of civil war, if you will, within the Saviors. That I really, really enjoyed, and I really like the culmination of that, with Simon and the Junkyard people, has light it up, gents, light it up now, and, killing all the Junkyard people except for Jadis, just horrifying, and then, Negan having to fight him and kill him eventually. So I really like that, and then you want to talk about the finale, and it's just a little anticlimactic, the way that the war ends, and it's just so drawn out at that point, it's like, could they really have made it satisfying enough for us? Probably not, but it is kind of an anticlimactic ending to that. And then the decision not to kill Negan, to keep him alive, which at the time I really was kind of against. I really thought that they probably should have just killed him off. The way, the comic version of Negan didn't completely transfer to the TV show. I think he was fans really wanted to see him die. He was really, really just unredeemable in the TV show, whereas in the comics he does have more of that redeeming qualities. And so to keep him alive in the comics made a little more sense, I think. People disagree with me for sure, but I do think it may have been better to kill him off, and it would have been a more satisfying, end to season 8. Having said that, though, I love seeing him in season 9 and the rest of the show, and with Dead City. So yeah, I think it was a good decision in the long run, but at the time, just talking about season 8, I think that was part of it. So I don't know. Do we put season 8 in meh? I guess, because I do really like some of it, but others, it's just too drawn out. So we'll put it in man there. Okay, season 9. So this is maybe another hot take, if you will, but even when I did my seasons ranking video, years ago, right after season 9, the finale came out, I did it the next day. I didn't have season 9 that high, and I'm still not going to. I think it's a little overrated. I really do. I think people were so starved for, great, prime Walking Dead after season 7 and 8 that, some of the elements of season 9, they saw them and really gravitated towards it and really thought, oh, like The Walking Dead is back, right? That was a big part of the conversation, was The Walking Dead is back, with season 9. And I don't know. I think the first half there until Rick's departure in episode 5, which, of course, what comes after one of the best episodes of the show, really great. But the episodes up until that point, I don't know. Like, just really, I didn't really enjoy that at all. The arc was, like, literally the same thing for 4 episodes straight. Was just, like, the saviors and, our survivors, can they get along? They really should, and Rick's trying really hard, but Daryl doesn't think so, and some people don't think they should get along, and, like, it was just the same dynamic for 4 episodes. And then Rick dies, and then they do the whole 6-year time jump, and to see Judith grow up, I really did like that. And then, of course, we get to the season 9 mid-season finale. That is, I'm forgetting the name of that episode at the moment. But yeah, anyways, that's a really great episode. One of my favorite moments of the show, honestly, is Jesus' death. Just such a great moment where it's just something that we've never seen in the show before. So shocking, and so it's just really well done the way they did that. Evolution, is that what it's maybe called, the mid-season finale? So I do really like that. The introduction of the Whispers, I think they did a really good job in not showing too much, and then that finale just really gets you. And then the second half, with the Whispers arc there, I do think it's obviously better than the first half, quite a bit better, I would say. And we get a lot of, the rest of the Whispers kind of arc there with Alpha and Beta, of course. And some of those episodes are, we get some backstory, I guess, on the Whispers as well. Stuff with Lydia and Henry. Again, just an absolute brain-dead decision to then kill Henry after episodes of building him up to literally take Carl's storyline and be with Lydia. It just absolutely nonsensical, like I already mentioned. And then, of course, we get Heads on Pikes, right? The Calm Before, which is a great episode. But I was a little bit let down by that. Like, the characters they chose, okay, Tara was a big character for a long time in the show, but not one of the ones that I really was devastated to see go, to be honest. And who else did we have on the Pikes? Obviously Henry was there. And Enid, right? So Enid was a bit of a shock. But no Ezekiel, right? Like in the comics, it's Ezekiel. That would have been, I think, a big character for that. So yeah, it's a heartbreaking, loss for a lot of those characters, but a lot of them were kind of red shirts as well at the end of the day, like just kind of guys that we saw a few times, and that was it. So that was a little bit lackluster. And then that finale, The Storm, I'm just not a huge fan of that with the snow. Not a huge fan. I think they were trying a little too hard. So anyways, I do like it, better than probably season 10 and 11, probably. We'll have to see. But so season 9, where do I put it? Maybe in good, I guess. In here, or maybe above season 8. That's tough. I do really like parts of season 8, Honestly, I think I'm going to have to put it below season 8. I think I am in meh. I really do. I know it's really low, but I think I am going to have to put it in meh below season 8 because I think I do like season 8 better. I think a lot of the stuff in that is better. Now, you could talk a little bit about the writing as well. I think it is slightly better, a little bit more deeper, a little bit more depth into some of these characters in season 9 than season 8. But I do really like the Negan and Rick dynamic too in the second half. So I'm going to put it there for now. We can move it later. Okay, so season 10. This is tough. I think I like season 9 better than season 10. And to be honest, season 10 is really the start of when my interest kind of started waning from the show. This is when I stopped, watching the episodes every single Sunday night at 9 p.m., on cable. I kind of fell behind a few episodes here and there, and didn't really catch up, for a few weeks and stuff like that. So, yeah, and you know what? To be honest, I don't remember a lot of season 10. I remember, Siddiq, Open Your Eyes. That's a great episode, and that kind of how that comes to be. With the rest of the Whisperers arc, obviously, and some more backstory there with that. And then we get, in the second half, we get, of course, Alpha's death with Lines We Cross, right, I believe, episode 12. I did really like the Negan storyline, right, from the comics of him, being freed by Carol and ended up befriending Alpha, basically, and then killing her and betraying her. I thought that was good. And then what else? And then, I guess Beta comes in right at the end of season 10 with Morning Star. I think that's what it's called, where he goes in, from the ground up into Alexandria. I really liked that episode. And then, the finale of season 10, I'm trying to think. And then we kind of just get affected by what was going on at the time, and then that finale was delayed by like months and months. What is that one? The Tower, I think it's called, and that was really lackluster to me. The way that Beta died just seemed very quick. That was really disappointing. So I don't know. I mean, season 10, I would probably take it over season 7, though I do really like Negan. Obviously, an episode like Service is just so great. Like, yeah, it's not that great of an episode, but Negan's just so charismatic, and I just love that performance and that character, and we see a lot of him in that season. I do really like him, killing Beta and that storyline too in this season. So that's tough. I just don't remember a lot of it. It's just not a memorable season of the show to me. So let's maybe put this above season 7 or maybe below it. I do like the Whisper arc a little bit. So I kind of feel bad putting it in awful though. Maybe put it in meh, I guess. I think that's maybe fair. We put it in meh, we put it over season 7. And then obviously, I've completely forgot the 6 episodes at the end of season 10 there. Really disappointing, the majority of them. Splinter is got to be the worst episode that they ever produced for the show, in my opinion. I think it's just, obviously it was because of what was going on. They had very limited sets and characters that they could use. I get that, but just a terrible episode to me. But we do get Here's Negan, which is an amazing episode of the show. Really great. I still wish that they made a limited series of a few more episodes for Here's Negan, but I'll take what I can get. A really great episode. And so even just that may actually put it in meh there. I think that's enough to put it over the awful tier for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I think season 9 is like quite a bit ahead of season 10 though. So it's kind of tough to have that in the same tier, but we'll leave it there for now. Okay, so season 11 then is interesting because it basically is like 2 different seasons to me, because the first 8 episodes is the, what are they called? What are they called? But anyways, Archeron part 1 and part 2, we get them coming in, and then we get the Pope, right? Really like that character, actually. I think he was really great in the limited time he had. I'm forgetting their name, but anyways, the group, Leah's in the group and all that stuff. So that is a very really isolated first 8 episodes of the season, and then we get the whole Commonwealth. Of course, we get a little bit of the Commonwealth in there too, but, it really only starts focusing on the Commonwealth in the, second half and then the third half, if you will, or whatever, the second, third, and the last third there. And so, yeah, I actually do really like the first 8 episodes. Again, I think the finale for that just felt really rushed, though. I think they could have really done a whole season with that group. And so it really did feel like, yeah, they had 24 episodes, and so they just needed to fill 8 episodes with something. And so they made that group and then just kind of went a little too overboard and put too much material in there to cover it. So, it was a little underwhelming, the ending to that. And then the Commonwealth stuff was just not... I just don't think it translated as well as it was in the comics to the TV show. And I know it wasn't the best received storyline in the comics either, but I don't think it transferred as well to the TV show. It just wasn't as interesting. it really kind of bogged down, and it really became like a whole different show, when they were in the Commonwealth with that setting of, it's basically just living in a city, and there's no, zombie threat, nothing really. And so it really felt like a different show. And then, of course, it kind of almost becomes like a political, like, thriller, kind of like a spy thing with Eugene and Stephanie and that whole dynamic there. I do really like Mercer as well. So yeah, I think it's just kind of underwhelming, second, third and last third there. I do kind of like some of the stuff with Toby. I thought that stuff was interesting. That villain there for a few episodes when he goes to that other community in that apartment building. I thought that was good. And then, of course, you want to talk about the series finale, which I think was pretty good with what they had to work with. Of course, Rick and Michonne coming back was a absolute must. I needed to see it. And we got it. So I think they did a good job with that. And Rosita's death was also really impactful at the end of season 11 there. So, okay, where would I put it then? I think I gotta, obviously season 9 is better. I would put it, above season 10 though, I think. I really do like the first 8 episodes of it. And then that series finale kind of bringing everything together. And I do kind of like some of the Commonwealth stuff I like Mercer as a character. I think he's really great. So I think maybe I would put it there. In meh, right? Over season 10. And again, I think there's still a big gap between season 9 and 11 here. But I think we'll put it there for that. I think we'll put it there in meh. Okay, we'll leave it there. Okay, so that'll do it then for the original series run. That's how we do it there with season 5 and 4 and great. Okay, that should work for now. Okay, so Tales of the Walking Dead. Yeah, this is easy. It's the worst. It's awful. I do want to maybe just mini rant on Tales of the Walking Dead. I think this show could have been so much better, and I think they still might do like other seasons of the show or another kind of take on this Tales thing. But for season 1 and what it was, could have been so much better. I mean, some of these episodes were just insane, especially episode 2 of this season when we had the 2 women and it became like a time travel Groundhog Day thing. Like, what are we doing here? What is going on in, this is a Walking Dead universe canon, like, a show, an episode? Like, what are we doing here? Now, I did really, really enjoy episode 3 with Alpha's origin story. Really great episode. And that's what I wanted to see from every episode in Tales. I think there's so much potential with a show like this to explore some more backstories of these characters, even something like a Here's Negan episode. Do like 6 of those episodes in a season of Tales for some of these characters of the original series that we don't know a lot about their backstory of or want to know more. Or you can even do current timeline stuff, like stuff where, let's say, what's a character, Ezekiel, what is he, the leader of the Commonwealth or something? Let's see where he's at, in the Commonwealth right now. That could be an episode of Tales. Like, there's just so much potential here for Tales to be something where it literally could be a good companion series where you can just do one-off episodes. You don't have to pay these actors, exorbitant amounts of money to be in a season. You pay them for one episode to come back, and we see where they're at or what they're up to, or we see the backstory of what these characters, where they came from. And they just completely wasted that. They do it in one episode, and the other 5 episodes are completely new stories with new characters that we don't really care about, and we don't have enough time to establish them, to the point where we give any bit of a fuck really about them. So yeah, I mean, Terry Crews, the first episode was okay, but again, like, I just think it's just such a waste of a show. And when I first heard about it, I was like so excited for what this could be and what they could offer us, but yeah, no, it just didn't turn out. And I actually don't think I watched the finale. I think I only watched like the first 5 episodes. Still don't think I've watched the finale. And I thought episode 5 was okay as well. But yeah, just really disappointing. So that's easily the worst on this tier list for sure. Okay, so then we get to the 3 spinoffs here. So Dead City. This is tough now to rank it with the original series in here. This is tough. This is tougher than I thought it would be. Okay. I don't know. I think we have to obviously acknowledge, this is different. It's not the original series. It's kind of a different thing. Of course, Maggie and Negan were developed in the original series. But it's very different. The setting is very different, and all that stuff. So I think I really like Dead City. I think, spoiler alert, but I think it's the best out of the spin-offs that they've done so far. I love Negan, so I'm a little impartial, and I thought he was so great. Some of the glimpses of old Negan that we got in this season was really great. And the whole Maggie Negan dynamic was done way better than I expected. Like, I was really like, what are we doing? Like, why are Maggie and Negan together? Like, are they just doing this for, like, the sake of views and people being, curious? But no, I think they actually did it really quite well with that dynamic. And, I was a little disappointed, with the ending of it, with the finale. I felt like, we came a long way, and then Maggie still is the traitor and backstabs him at the end of the finale, where I thought, I thought we did get somewhere with these two characters. So, and there was a couple other things that wasn't great, but I really like the Croat as a villain, really great. And I do like the finale. Again, I do kind of question where they're going to go with season 2, but I'm curious. We'll have to see. But overall, just a really kind of refreshing look at The Walking Dead, and to really start this universe off, or kind of restart it with these spin-offs. So I think I'll put it in good, probably below season 1. Meh, would I put it in meh? I think it's good. I really do. I think it's good. I really did enjoy Dead City quite a bit for what it is as a spin-off there. Okay, next then is Daryl Dixon, of course, just season 1 of the show, and I don't know, I think some people, I've seen that really like Daryl Dixon and like it the best out of these spinoffs, but I don't know. I mean, parts of it were just a little disappointing to me. Of course, you get the comparisons with The Last of Us. It's not entirely their fault, that it came out the same year, and the comparisons were just everywhere, right, with the, Daryl basically... the second half of the season here is him, taking this young kid to a place, right? And it's like the two of them traveling together, very similar to, what are their names in The Last of Us? Ellie and Pedro Pascal's character. I'm forgetting his name now. But anyways, yeah. So it, very similar to that storyline there of Last of Us. So it's unfortunate, the comparisons there. Obviously, I think Last of Us is quite a bit better. But yeah, some of this stuff was just a little lackluster with Daryl. Particularly, I absolutely hated the justification or the explanation here of how he got to France. Just lazy writing to me. Like, they could have came up with something so much better. But it was great to see Carol. I think we see her in the finale maybe. And then, she obviously is coming in season 2 of Book of Carol. So it was good to see her in that storyline. What else? I really like the villain in this one. But he did kind of get defeated a little too quick to me, or too early. And what else about Daryl Dixon? Not too much else. I just kind of, I didn't find it as entertaining as Dead City. There are some variant walkers, so that stuff is cool as well, that they're kind of experimenting with. But yeah, I think Dead City is more similar, I would say, to the original series in a way, and Daryl Dixon is a more kind of slower, and we get, of course, a lot of that, France influence as well, with the culture difference, which does kind of get a little tiring with kind of the whole fish out of water concept, with Daryl being in France and he doesn't know the language. It kind of gets a little bit tiring. But where would I put Daryl Dixon? I think I'm going to put it in meh. I think it's in that tier somewhere. But, how do I rank it with these? Season 8 and Season 9, I would definitely take over it, probably. Season 11, I would maybe put it above Season 11, or maybe in between Season 11 and 10. Season 11 of the show, I do like, yeah, okay, we'll put it right here, I think. We'll take Season 11 over it, for now, in the meh tier there. Okay, last but not least then is The Ones Who Live, the most recent installment of the Walking Dead universe. This one, I mean, wow. So, obviously great to see Rick and Michonne back. It's tough because we've seen the finale, right? We've seen how it ends, and that really has hurt the rest of the show to me. I thought some, parts of this were really great. Episode 4 in particular was one of the best episodes that they've done, at least from a writing perspective. Getting to the deep kind of levels of these characters of Rick and Michonne that honestly we may never have seen before in the universe of the show. So that was really great. But it just went very quick to me. The whole Rick and Michonne meeting happens at the end of the first episode? I thought that would be in the finale of this season, and then we get at least another season, maybe 2 more seasons of this story. And so it was very fast paced. But then having said that, episode, 3, 4, and 5 were really slow though. The pacing really slowed down and not much happened. And it's just focusing, the one episode is literally just them chasing down Jadis, right? And so we have all of this big background with the CRM and everything going on, and it was just way too much to pack into 6 episodes here. And I do have a review on the channel as well for this, if you want more thoughts. But yeah, just too much going on, and it really did seem like Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerra were only going to come back if it was a limited series and 6 episodes. It really just feels like they had no interest in doing another show for multiple years, which is fair enough. At least they did come back for something. But, this could have been a trilogy of movies that we were promised at the beginning, and now it's stuck to 6 episodes. Obviously, we're probably not going to get another season. And so because of that, the finale just is completely rushed. And like I said, really, really damages the rest of the season. Even World Beyond, everything that they set up with the CRM is just completely, damaged and really kind of tarnished with that finale just being so quick. They basically kill the whole group in a matter of seconds. Rick and Michonne get back. They meet up with Judith and RJ, right? And that just felt very rushed, very cheap to me, just to see that slid in there at the very end of the episode. We get no reuniting with Rick and all the other characters, Rick and Daryl, just nothing. So yeah, just disappointing at the end of it. Yeah, it was great. There's some great moments, but the finale just, it kind of nullifies that to me. So, where would I put this? I don't know if I can go awful with it, though. Is it awful? The finale was awful, but there are some really great moments. It's great to see Rick and Michonne back. Some very emotional moments as well. So maybe at the bottom of meh, I think. Again, just with that finale really damaging it, but some good moments overall. So yeah, I think we'll put it at the bottom there. Yeah, I think that's fair. So I think that'll just about do it then. I think I'm pretty good with all these. I think season 5 and 4, that's tough. I don't know, maybe I would put season 4 over it now, thinking about it. So maybe we'll just switch those two. But other than that, I think everything else is good here. We got 6, 2, 4, 5, 3, 1, Dead City. Season 8, 9, 11, Daryl, 10, The Ones Who Live, and then 7 and Tails at the end. So yeah, that'll just about do it then for my tier list here. Pretty happy with this one. And like I said, in the future, maybe next year I'll do an updated version with Dead City Season 2 and Daryl Season 2, and we'll see how those rank as well. But anyways, love to hear your guys' thoughts, as I said off the top, on this tier list and the seasons of The Walking Dead. And of course, if you've seen Fear and World Beyond, how would those rank into this tier list as well? So yeah, love to hear from you guys. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this one, and stay tuned for more tier list videos, and also coverage of probably the Walking Dead pilot episode that I'll be doing very shortly, and of course my review for season 2 of the Daryl Dixon spin-off series. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this one, and we'll see you then in my next video.